Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on Channel 1 Television. Here on The Point of View, we get the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. We have a big guest for you tonight. He's usually on the other side of the dial on Metro TV on Tuesdays and Thursdays with his show, Good Evening Ghana. He's been running for over 20 years. Tonight, he's decided to pass through our studio to give us an exclusive insight into what has happened to him in the past few days. Now, for those of you who do not know, Paul Adom-Otchere is my guest. He was invited by the Office of the Special Prosecutor over alleged procurement breaches. Well, he says he's fully cooperated with investigations and submitted himself to interrogation. He was granted bail, but under conditions which he and some lawyers consider to be palpably unreasonable, and that it even bordered on a farce. He tells us his views on all of that and more when we come back. Later on, we debate two think tanks, Cuts International and Imani. They have different views on what Samuel Nate George is doing with DSTv. So they'll join us to have a debate on free market versus interventionism. Which one is the best? So it's a big show. Stay with us.
Ghana, get ready! The biggest sales event of the year is back. National Sales Leaders Conference 2025, organized by Core Event Solutions, powered by MGA Consulting, and proudly supported by Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana and Association of Ghana Industries. Happening on August 19th to 21st at the Accra International Conference Center. The special guest of honor for this big event is the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Deborah. Join over 2,000 participants, including CEOs, Managing Directors, Sales and Marketing Heads, among others, for 3 unforgettable days of insights and high-level networking with 68 seasoned speakers tackling 25 impactful topics across various industries. This is the one event you can't afford to miss. Reserve your seat now. Visit www.nslcaccra.org or call 0502-711-070 to secure your ticket. NSLC 2025, redefining sales excellence for a dynamic market.
Remember who we are seeing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. We remember or her 20 ebitimi prostate cancer, 5 bitimi afamu na dia obefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada, entina midi maniche Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear system ye nro ne so de natural into we koso afama ye.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Welcome. So tonight we start with Paul Adom-Otchere, who is the host of Good Evening Ghana. He's also the immediate past board chair of the Ghana Airport Company Limited. In the first term of Nana Akufo-Addo's government, he was also a board member of the NCA. If there's time, I'll ask him some questions around some communication issues. Paul, great to have you. You are fine fertile.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Wait. This whole idea of you going to OSP and invitation, did it come as a surprise to you? Based on the fact that we knew you'd done shows on the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Were you surprised when you were invited to go and answer questions?
No, I wasn't. And I think at the outset, we have to say that the OSP has the right to investigate the things he has to investigate.
Okay.
He is an appointee of state, and he's paid by taxpayers' money to try and reduce corruption or to eradicate corruption altogether. The bill, OSP bill that went to Parliament, talked about how, in spite of the Office of the Attorney General, there should be still another agency, and many people agreed with this. So the OSP has a right to do his work all the time. There's no questions about it. But yes, we have been critical of some of the things he had done, and he had also been upset about some of our criticisms, some of which were expressed directly, in person, and all of that. So yes, we are aware that maybe somebody there is not happy, but we don't think that because somebody is not happy, he will prosecute you wrongly. If we are thinking that there's something wrong, then it's based on the facts that came to us. So yes, we do not think the OSP does not have the right to invite me or any other Ghanaian. And so when he invited me to show up last week, Thursday, my lawyers wrote back to him that there are 2 senior lawyers who would have represented me, but they are not available. So can we reschedule for the next Monday? They wrote back a very stern letter saying that you cannot reschedule, you have to come. So I went. So yes, I respect the OSP's power to investigate and to prosecute where he finds something to prosecute.
Manasseh Azuri had made some posts around some procurement matters in which he referenced the Ghana Airport Company and also mentioned your name. Do you think that influenced the whole decision to invite you?
I wouldn't know. I spoke to Manasseh personally about it. He sent me some questions. I understand that he's published them, but I don't know how the OSP does his work. And the OSP has power to investigate, so I really wouldn't know. But the OSP still has power within himself to conduct his own investigations.
But would a write-up by a prominent journalist, which then sort of raises questions for you in the public, not, I won't want to use the word prejudice because that probably predated the invitation, but obviously that contributes to the build-up, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, Manasseh's concern was about SML, and Manasseh's story was really that this SML has metamorphosed itself into something at Ghana Airport, and
yes.
So Ghana Airport people would know how that metamorphosis occurred, which I think is fair, but I don't know whether the OSP invited me because of that.
But he also says that the current, the contract for which the Ghana Airport Company needs to answer questions is actually a transmogrification of SML. He actually says that it's the same people. There's a different name, but it's like the same principles. So clearly, he's sort of drawing a link between the SML deal and then a contract that the Ghana Airport Company awarded to this company, which he believes an offshoot, for which he believes you knew, because he claims you had a meeting with him or spoken to him where you sort of said you had even met the people the night before sometime. So we are not dealing with Manasseh here, but it seems to be the same case that has changed into GSL, correct?
I don't know whether it's the same case.
I don't think so.
It may have similarities, but I don't know whether it's the same case because the OSP's letter had a reason why you've been invited. Okay. Corruption-related offences and public procurement breaches relating to this contract. And
okay.
It's straight and fair. It doesn't make any reference to any investigations by journalists.
But do they establish why, as board chair, you should have any questions to answer on a deal like this?
They don't, and I was saying that is how we felt that there has to be some difficulty with this because why would you invite a board chair? I heard listening to your sister, another station on Saturday, Madam Vicky Bright, a corporate governance expert, was expressing wonder why a board chair will be invited for either procurement breaches or... So when they say corruption and corruption-related offences, that itself does not capture any offence, but all the offences come under it. So there's stealing, there's causing financial loss to the state. Clearly, this is not a matter of causing financial loss to the state because no money had been paid, no loss had been occasioned, absolutely no money had been paid. And then there's also procurement breaches, which has nothing to do with board because the public procurement law identifies the entity head, the CEO, as the people they deal with. I, as board chairman, never wrote any letter to public procurement. I never engaged public procurement. There were several procurements, as I have told the OSP in the interrogation, that the board is not even aware of. The board doesn't need to know. So procurement, board and procurement, it sounds incongruous, but investigative authorities know what they are doing. So this was a contract about revenue assurance. Now, the Minister for Transport at the time had told us that we needed to develop other ways of making money for the airports. They call it non-aeronautical ways of making money for the airport. So the aeronautical ways are the plane tickets and all of that. Non-aeronautical are maybe shops. People have shops. How much do you charge them? And it was a big concern. The cargo area was also a concern, and management and board knows about this. So the concern about the cargo area question was, are you really making the money you should be making from the cargo area as an airport? So if you take this Skywater, for instance, if it comes in from elsewhere abroad, it comes to the airport, is cleared by an agent, and then the agent, when he clears it, they tell Ghana Airport Company what business has been done, and out of that, a calculation of the commissions or whatever they pay to Ghana Airport Company is determined. There was a suspicion that perhaps the Ghana Airport Company is not getting what it should get. So this was about people coming to do a presentation to the airport company and say that I have the technology to be able to give you in real time what you should be getting. So they were told that, okay, let's develop it further, work with management and let's see. And then we told them at the outset that the bad news we have for them, though, is that we don't have money to pay. We can't pay. So they will have to do the work. And if they are successful at the work, then we can think of a commission for them. But to pay them, we can't. Okay, so that's the beginning. So they said, okay, well, no problem. They are confident that they'll be able to do the work. So they take the systems of Ghana Airport historically, maybe the last 3 months, how much did you receive? They do some algorithm analysis and tell you that you could have received this when you were getting this. Okay, so they work together with the management. They come back to the board and do a second presentation. In the presentation, they show us really fantastic figures of what we are losing. And we all are overwhelmed that, are they really serious that this is true? And they said, yeah, this is true. But these are very young men who seem to be very IT savvy. So this is what the whole contract's about. So the contract's about, okay, so give them the right now to do this assessment. Now, how anyone will know that the board was doing absolute fidelity to the company is that this contract, if it's successful, will gain more revenue for the company. But in doing the contract preparations, we were all sure that we will not be there by the time the success occurs. So when the success comes, whoever is in charge of GACL at the time will take credit for it. We were aware
of that. It was a
long-term
contract.
Yeah, we were aware of that. So in fact, the contract was signed apparently, as I found out, on 4th December. Because we had finished our work. The last meeting we had, I think, was in August, something like that.
When did the process start, do you know?
The process started in March of 2024. So the process starts with come and do a presentation to the board.
Okay.
The board hears you. The board says, okay, management, can you take this further? Okay, they take it further. Management comes back and say, board.
So this was like they came to you. It wasn't like you had opened something. They found a problem and said they wanted to solve it.
No, we were looking for people to solve the problem.
Okay.
So one presentation came, so we listened to it. As far as we are concerned, listening to the presentation at the board stage is preliminary. No commitments have been made. There's absolutely no problem. We can listen to 10 presentations and don't proceed with it and proceed with one. At that stage, it is when you are beginning to procure the service. It is then that there's a commitment. So we listened to the presentation. We said, okay, management, work with them, let's see. They came back and said, it looks like they have a story to tell. Let's hear them. We heard them. And then we said, okay, go ahead and work it out. Go ahead and work it out means management always knows what to do with that, because the board is just a supervisory and say, we think this is good, look at it. Management may well come back and say, well, there was some information that you people didn't have, let's give it to you and see whether you still think this is good. All of those things. So management went ahead and then did the contract. So this is the matter of this contract. Now,
so it wasn't like, because don't forget, you mentioned that even Vicky Barrett has said that the issue of board and contracting
and procurement.
So it was the board did not actively choose the final winner of this or this company.
No, it's not a winner.
Also, there was no competitive. It was just one company.
It's a process that we are thinking, can they do it? And And so the public procurement has, is it sole sourcing they call it?
Yes.
And then when you want to do sole source, as I found out, you have to write to the public procurement and they have to accept it.
Okay.
Whether this is qualifies for sole sourcing or not. So if you, sometimes you write to them, I hear they will not accept sole sourcing, sometimes they will accept it, but they have a basis on which they accept it.
So was this done?
Yeah, so a letter was written to management, the board decided that go ahead and look for sole sourcing.
Okay.
And then when they will write to procurement, and procurement will decide whether this should be sole source, whether this qualifies as sole sourcing or not. So procurement can decide it doesn't qualify. Procurement can decide it qualifies.
This is the authority.
Yeah, the procurement authority. Yes. So you write to the public procurement authority. Their board will have a meeting. They will look at it. There are basis on which they accept. And I think the management people know. Because if you're asking sole sourcing, you have to show the person has this, that, all kinds of things. So they have proceeded with that. The board says, we think this is good. Go to public procurement. Let's see what happens.
And so you didn't insist that there should be competitive tendering?
No, we didn't.
You didn't
We
think?
didn't quite. You see, IT solutions are such that sometimes people have evolved them themselves. They are like intellectual property. So when people bring an IT solution, and because IT solutions can easily be duplicated, when somebody brings you an IT solution and you say competitive, and other people can look at it and do it. So IT solutions are, sometimes that's why the sole sourcing is available in the public procurement. So that when somebody is bringing an intellectual property, if CCTV decide that we think that there should be a documentary of this, that in trade, and then they go and tell the GIPC that, look, GIPC, we think you need this service and we can do it for you. And they say go and do competitive, then it means other people must present the same thing that CT has originally thought about. So I think that the public procurement sole sourcing is for that. And the sole sourcing is not automatic. The public procurement must agree that this qualifies for sole sourcing.
So once the public procurement authority agrees, you are on all fours because it's their decision.
It's their
Or
decision.
your proposal and they recommend
Yes,
or not.
it's their decision.
They
It's
agree
the
or
public
not.
procurement's decision to agree or not. It's not. We can say we want sole sourcing. They'll say no, you can't have it based on that and that. And they're not.
And that process was gone through.
By the management. That's nothing to do with the board.
So the only thing the board did
has
was to
finished
listen to the people.
and say that go ahead with them,
Okay,
and you can do sole sourcing.
I see.
So they write to. I don't even know if when they are writing this reference the board, but the first engagement public procurement has with any process like that is the letter from the management saying that this is where we are. So that was done, and up until then, and indeed up until now, no money has been spent, and that there's a statement from the company just last week saying that absolutely no money has been spent
So
on the contract.
the Ghana Airport Company hasn't paid this company for any service?
Ghana Airport Company, under the what we approved, is not supposed to pay them.
How are they supposed to make their money?
That's a good question. No payment at all. So we know that we are earning 100 cedis from mineral water. If you come and out of your work, you can show or we can earn 500 cedis from the mineral water. The difference will be 400 cedis what you have added. Under the contract or under what we discussed at the board, the proposal they brought, they wanted 20% of this 400. The board said, no, that's too high. You can have 16%. So this was the clarity that the board gave towards going to sole sourcing. So this is so no money is paid, no money. So if you can show truly that your systems have made us earn this, and if the system make us earn, we will all know, because they were saying that in real time they can tell the company how much you should be expecting, so that if the people come and they are saying something else, then we can reconcile with the data and show them that this is what. So this is what it's about. That's why no payment is involved. Absolutely no payment.
Were
involved.
they able to increase your revenue?
That's a good question again, because we left on January 8th. And they began the process to demonstrate to the airport sometime in March.
2025.
5 years. Because the contract was signed on December 4th, as I was told. In fact, board members didn't know, but it doesn't matter. The contract was signed on December 4th. December 7th was the election. After December 7th, I think we held a concluding board meeting, something like that, with a lot of hostility on the ground, as you imagine what happened at that time.
But the management team was still in place.
Management is still in place, absolutely still in place. And then we left on January 8th because a directive came from the secretary to the president that all boards must leave. So we all resigned out.
But the management was still working.
The management was still working. So
And they decided to continue the process.
the contract has been signed. So apparently the people started doing this, going through the processes to tell that they are still doing that. They have not gotten to the point where they can show that we have earned this and you give us this. They have not gotten to that point. That's why the management letter said no money has been spent. So this is the matter of money spending. Absolutely nothing. Zero.
So I think you've given us enough on the case without going too much into it. Now let's talk about when you went to meet the team. When they invited you and you said you had wanted a different day, they said no, you came. You went with your team. How was it like? Where did you go? Who did you meet? How was it like? What was the interaction like?
It's a simple interrogation. So it can get hostile at some times, which is understandable. I mean, somebody's arguing with you, said this, that you say that. So that happened. But it was fair and fine. And so you sit around a table like this, and then you are there with your lawyers, and they ask you questions.
So when you get there, do they charge you? Or they just say, I want to understand what it is.
The letter they sent to you
What was the letter saying?
indicates that you are a suspect for this.
Okay.
So sometimes when you get there, they will do what they call the technical arrest.
Okay.
By touching you and say that you're under arrest.
Did they do that?
Yes, they did. So they read your rights to you, that you can decide not to answer questions, etc., etc. So you proceed. That is how come you need bail.
Okay. So you were technically arrested?
Yes. So when the interrogation finished, they brought a form that you should fill. Now, the form has specific questions. one of the questions is, do you have landed property in your name? And I answered that question, no.
Okay.
And I'm beginning to understand that was a problem, which we can talk about. And they said, do you have car? I answered it, and etc. Then they give you a bigger form that has more details, which you should answer over 30 days. So after the interrogation, they go to another room, and then some very nice people, they bring the form, and then you fill it. Then they take the form away. So after the form, they will come back and tell you your bail conditions, and that's where my lawyers...
So when you said you didn't have landed property in your name, did you understand that that was a precondition for the bail? At the time, you didn't know?
No, it's a form. It's just a form that you are filling. It has nothing to do with
It's
bail.
not labeled?
No, it's labeled as to disclose your name, your hometown. It's like a personal information form.
So when you filled that form, then later it was then said that because you have no landed property in your name, you can't get bail?
That is how my lawyers got upset, because the form indicates what you have as a landed property. So you answer the question. So by the time they are reading your bail conditions to you, they've already seen that form. They know what you have said in that form. So the big issue for my lawyers was that the suspect says that I do not have landed property. And then you say, okay, that is your bail condition. It suggests that there's a problem. But that's where the banter of my lawyer started. But then the issue about the form has been the no landed property has been discussed in a way that I feel disappointed by a big lawyer who said that he knows that I have 4 properties in Accra, and he's going
on
to
a media
show it.
platform.
Yes, he said it on a media platform and I sent him a text that, please, in 2 weeks, can you show the? I don't know why. I'll mention this, everybody knows it. That he said, you have landed property. I know Paul Adom-Otchere has given money to somebody. I mean, some of these wild allegations they throw about. And I keep asking that, if a person lives in the house and has lived there for 20 years, and he says, I don't have landed property, why is that awkward? The house address is available. Lands Commission is available. Everyone can check. I even look at it as a bit chauvinistic, because if a man and a woman live together and they have a house, it is believed that it's for the man, it's not for the woman. But people act differently. Assuming that I'm married to X or X is married to me, and we are working together, and the person's office terms of mortgage is better than my office's terms of mortgage. If we want a mortgage, we'll go to her office or his office to take the mortgage. The mortgage will not record, because it's a loan, 2 of you owning it. It will record the one who works for it and the mortgage partner. So you have the thing in the name of X and this
So living in a house for 20 years,
that
does
it
not
is
mean
yours.
All right.
It doesn't mean that you didn't contribute.
Let's take a break.
Furniture or you didn't buy anything.
We're talking to Paul Adom-Otchere
Anyway.
on his what's the even I want to use his encounter with the OSP. We'll come back with more. He's telling us some of the things that he can tell us in relation to what happened there, and also the matter that he has been accused of. If we have time, we'll talk about national issues. Later on, we'll discuss DSTv and the minister. We have a nice debate for you. Stay with us.
Remember who we are seeing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. We remember or her 20 ebitiminya prostate cancer. 5 bitimi afamu nadia obefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada entina medi maniche Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame home. Facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear wɔ system ni. Ye nro ne so de e natural. Into we koso afa ma ye.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Welcome back. So my guest is Paul Adom-Otchere, host of Good Evening Ghana, immediate past board chair of Ghana Airport Company, who has had an encounter with the Office of Special Prosecutor. He was there a few days ago. It took you a day and a half to get bail. So they actually kept you there for... Where did you sleep?
Well, it's it's not fair to them to say they kept me there. It's better to say I was unable to fulfill the bail conditions.
But wasn't it surprising for a public figure who's on TV for 25 to 30 years, who's known, that it's difficult to get bail? I thought like sometimes, or it's not down the basis of whether you are a popular person or not. I'm not a lawyer. So.
All the lawyers are saying that this bail regime is very novel. It never happened. No one has seen it before. Bail regime is usually self-recognizance bail. I think that's what you are referring to. If you are somebody that they can always find, it's a self-recognizance bail, especially at the stage where you are a suspect. And also, bail conditions are people standing surety for you. People bring which is how the bill was revised to. They later on revised the bail conditions for other people to produce the houses, not me, myself. So, which is what everyone was expecting. So, in fact, when we're going there, the lawyer said that you may have to get bail. So, let's find people and get them ready.
They anticipated
and
this.
we did that. And we did that. So, but then this issue of go and bring your own house, especially coming after you have filled the form to say, I don't own landed property. I understand that that's annoying them because they thought I was lying. And I have to say that having done journalism for that long, filling a public form, I know the offense of a deceit of a public officer. It's in Act 30. I know it. So why would I write a form into a public officer, Office of Special Prosecutor, which is under the Office of the Attorney General, and make disclosures that are false? I don't understand
so you
how I
have
would
no
do that.
landed property in your name.
Absolutely.
That is a fact.
I don't know why. And it's verifiable. It's
So when
easily verifiable.
When they varied the bail condition,
yes,
that was the day after.
The day after, when lawyers went to the OSP and said, you can't have these bail terms, especially when the suspect had told you that he does not have landed property. I'm understanding that will annoy them, and that's why I'm worried about how that annoys anyone. Today, I've seen people on Facebook say, you have done journalism for 30 years, you say you don't have property. But I organize my life the way I organize my life. Okay. I want to use my money to do something else. Yeah. Another person who is with me uses their money or his money to do something else so that we can all benefit. I don't have landed property in my name.
That was a specific question.
It's a specific question. It's a question and answer. What is your name? Your hometown?
Your partner's name is not your name.
No, but if you come here to City FM where you and I used to work, and we are taking a car loan, and the car is 100,000 cedis, but City FM is willing to give you 80,000 cedis, and you take 20,000 cedis from your partner, and City FM wants to see the 20,000 cedis before they ask the bank to give you the 80. When you go into the arrangement, the car doesn't belong to you and your friend or partner and the bank. The car belongs to you, the City FM employee, and the bank that gave the money until you're able to pay the loan. So your name will not be on the car. You may use it every day, but your name will not be on it. It doesn't mean you didn't contribute to it, but it's a way in which you
beyond the legal
life.
issues, were you okay with where you were detained? Was it what kind of place was it?
Oh, it's a normal place they detain every Ghanaian. So,
but we don't know what happens there. So when a journalist goes there, we want to know. Because most people don't come and tell us what is there.
It's just you're detained with people who are also detained, and nobody maltreated anyone. That's for sure.
Okay.
I mean,
is it a private place?
It's state-owned.
What I'm saying is that were you in a room with other people?
Yes, you will be in a room with other people. It depends on the numbers they have. If they don't have many numbers.
How many people were there?
Oh, easily about 25, something like. Not in the same room. There are some.
Were you in a room alone?
No, I was in a room with the other people, a guy from GSC. The people I went in there with, I was in a room with them, and one other person.
So where did you sleep?
Oh, they give you a mattress. You have a mattress
on the floor.
Yes, for now, but it's double mattress. I think because on the floor they make it, and they give you blankets.
Did they allow you?
They treat you well.
Were you able to get a change of clothes?
They provide it. They provide clothes. I wasn't there that long to know. I wasn't due for change of clothes yet because it was overnight, and by midday they came back and said we should get ready, and that.
So were you able to contact your family in the evening?
No, you can't. You can't contact anyone. When the day you go there, the next day, the OSP, or if it's BNI or if it's Yoko, they'll come back to talk to you. It is then that you can engage with them and tell them.
But your lawyers were moving in and out.
The lawyers can talk to the OSP, but they can't talk to the people at the place where you are kept. But the OSP controls that. So
in your interaction with the OSP, was your lawyer there?
Yes, the OSP himself wasn't there. I have to make that point. He wasn't there.
But your lawyers were there with you?
Yeah, during the interrogation, yes, they were both there. They had everything.
But when you were not able to secure the bail for that night, you were alone?
Yes, they will drive you to the facility alone.
It's not within the same precincts?
No. It's not at the OSP's office, no. So that's the issue. So you are held at the facility. The lawyer's work is with the OSP. He can't come there to see you. Wow. The OSP people can come and see you, and they can tell you that your lawyer said this, that, and you can tell them.
My lawyer cannot see you there?
No, he's not. He can't see you. I don't know whether at some point maybe he can see you, but for my experience for the period, you can't see anyone. Nothing. You just wait and have a conversation with the people. So I did. I had a conversation with them, and I made some stories.
There's a video of you going back home. How concerned was your family about?
Oh, and this is another point.
You. So where is this?
This is my house. So when I say my house, then they say it's landed property.
Your wife came to meet you.
She was at the OSP. She was with the lawyers from morning. She was with Adom-Otchere, with Godfrey Dami, with everyone. She was there.
Adom-Otchere was there?
Yeah, he graciously so. He was concerned about it. So he went to see the OSP. I mean, at the OSP's office. They all went to ask.
So Dami too was there?
Dami was there with Afenyo Tampuli, Al-Hassan Tampuli. They were all there.
But they are not your official legal team?
No, they were not. But Dami was my official legal lawyer. But they went in with concern that this is your bail term. What does it mean? The guy has told you he doesn't have landed property. Then you say, go and bring the thing you say, the thing the man has told you that he doesn't have. How is he going to achieve it? I think there was another person who also said he doesn't have landed property. But this was the concern. So they sort of worked with the OSP to vary the bail terms. And then when he varied the bail terms, I said, okay, find somebody to bring. Then somebody supplied it. And then
was the bail term varied for the other people who were?
Absolutely, yes.
There were 4 of you?
There were 3 of us.
All board members?
No board member. I'm the only board member.
Because you're the board chair. The rest were the management.
One person from the management in commercial, which is, that's another matter. But he was there. And then another person, the IT guy. Not from the company, but the IT guy who was part of the business. He was also there. So the bill was, yes, varied for everyone. But the concern, and I have to make this point, that all those people who I said thank you to, who had expressed concern, I have seen some spin on social media. They were not expressing the concern that Paul Adom-Otchere has done something wrong and he's above the law and you cannot touch him. No. They were expressing concern that the bail conditions that the OSP gave were too harsh and unreasonable and are actually unknown.
Has the OSP charged you officially?
Not yet, no.
Do you have a hint of what they accuse you of?
What they have accused? The suspect in the letter, they say that corruption and corruption-related offences and procurement breaches. They say it. But as I said, corruption and corruption-related offences, it doesn't mean any particular causing financial loss to the state, stealing, defrauding by false pretenses. Most of the provisions of Act 29 are part of corruption and corruption-related offences. So that's what they said.
But for those descriptions, you are confident that you are on all fours?
Well, causing financial loss to the state, there's nothing. In fact, in the bill, they said that the houses that you should bring should be of any value at all. The thing with bail, when you hear the amount of money, is always calculated on the money that has been lost. So if the investigation is about 10 million cedis, then they give you a bail of 5 million, something like that. Because there's no money involved in this one, they couldn't really put money on the bill. So they said, you bring a house of any value at all, even if it's landed property, any immovable property in your name. That's all they were looking for. That suggests that there's no real amount of money that has been lost, for which reason they will calculate the bill. So all of these were the concerns that the lawyers raised with them. And any other person who wanted to intervene in the matter, their interventionist was limited to the bail conditions. Nothing to do with Paul Adom-Otchere has not done anything wrong or Paul Adom-Otchere is above the law. No, not far from that. No one can say anyone is above the law or that anyone should not be interrogated or charged by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. People are concerned when bail is used as a weapon. And I've seen articles since then that bail is not a weapon. Bail is not to show power. Bail is to say that I have charged you. You cannot run away. If you run away, I'll catch you. So I'm giving you self-recognizance bail. Come and report to me once a week. You can't travel. Let me know before you travel. That's what bail is about. Bail is to make sure that you are not a flight risk. And so for people like me and other people who are very all over the place and on public platforms, self-recognizance bail is what people thought. However, the OSP has a discretion not to do self-recognizance bail. He can ask, as we did, other people to stand surety. But to ask you to present your own 2 houses, a factor that is not automatic with life. You may be 60 years and not have 2 houses. You can be 100 years and not have 2 houses in Ghana.
Yeah.
You may have no house in Ghana, but 1 house in Maryland or 1 house in Nigeria. So that kind of condition is what everyone was concerned about.
Do you think... Okay, let me change the question. How will this affect the way you approach your work? I watch your shows, and you do it differently from all of us. You speak your mind, you do your research, and you take positions. Now, this is obviously going to affect you, wouldn't it? Because it appears, if it becomes a long-drawn case, it could affect you in the sense that you may not even be able to talk about it if it gets to court, could you? I don't understand. Like, if for example, it becomes a court issue, do you have liberty? Because I think you did some commentary on this earlier, right? Will you be able to continue doing that?
I think that's a decision that if the matter goes to court, a court will take. And it will take it on an application by the prosecution. However, having said that, I covered cases in court, and I saw Richard Jakpa grant interviews about his own case. I saw Ato Forsen talk about it, and I've seen, I've looked at cases across the board, and people talk about their case. But however, if there's an order from the court based on an application that the way in which you are running the commentary on the case, you are prejudicing the outcome of the case, and the judge agrees with it, and the judge gives an order that you can't talk about it, I'm sure that order will be respected.
But beyond the case itself, if you go back on air to do, because you do a hard job, how's it going to affect you?
Well, as I'm saying, it's all within the limitations and the delimitations of the law. If the law says that at this juncture you cannot do this,
I'm not even talking about this case. I'm saying emotionally, psychologically. So you go on air and you want to discuss something political.
Oh, well, I mean,
wouldn't the case and the possibility of prosecution be at the back of your mind?
Well, the possibility of legal action has always been on the mind of anybody who is publishing about other people. And we have done this for a long time. We have not been sued in defamation because we always know how to present the case. You don't go and present a case prejudicial against people.
Okay.
You don't present a case for which you have no evidence. We never do that. And we have dealt with heavy cases. And you don't also present a case and use words that are prejudicial. You have to find the right words to use to protect yourself from being sued. And that's what we've been doing all the time. And that is why for the things that we have done with the OSP, he's not been able to, with his legal mind and his legal team, pick one of those things and said, I'm taking legal action against you on this thing you said about me.
You've never been sued for something you did on your program, defamation?
No. Maybe once with, the only time we've been sued was Adom-Otchere had granted an interview to us where he had talked about Dr. Akoto. That Dr. Akoto still lives in some house in Tema, which belongs to the Tema Oil Refinery. Dr. Akoto took out a writ of defamation against Adom-Otchere, and we are second defendants because
not something you directly...
We went on to court on that, yes. Recently, another writ has been taken out against us by Tony Orban in Galamsey. During the election 2024, there was a video in which somebody was speaking about Galamsey and he was there. And we had berated him for being there and allowing a person to talk about if we win elections, Galamsey will continue, given his background in mining. He has taken out a defamation writ against us. So that's there. So this is for the last so many years. This is what we have. Because we go out and deal with this. And also, we recognize that our platform is we can be biased on the platform, but we cannot be, we have to be impartial. So impartiality is if anyone whom we have said anything against wants to retract, wants a time on our platform, we are happy to give it. We're always open to anyone who wants to come.
So if the special prosecutor wants to come on your show, would you interview him?
I would interview anyone who wants to come. You saw what happened after the election.
Yeah.
My arch rival in election data analysis, Musa Dankwa, I invited him to come on the show. I apologized to him and we spoke. And he said a lot of things against me, but that's okay. He's entitled to that because I have said a lot of things against him. So
some of which were wrong.
Yes, well,
because he did get the election result right.
No. I was asked that question recently and on piece of... Yeah, I think he did get the election result right. But this is what it is. His research, and I saw you interview, was it you or it was the Saturday
I interviewed him and then the gentleman...
you did with the other people, the other posters.
I didn't interview him and then the Kumasi guy.
Yes, the Kumasi guy.
Who you had praised.
Yes.
But whose prediction was wrong.
Yes, who I had interviewed as well. Okay, perfect. So I watched that program. It's a very, very good program.
Yeah.
Now, what happens with this research, and you will know it better than I do, that with any research based on economics and sociology, there's an underpinning theme, all things being equal, or other things being equal. For the purpose of this analysis, I like to use other things being equal.
Okay.
So when you make a prediction of that stage, every prediction is subject to all things being equal.
But you chose to believe the wrong guy.
Yeah, fair enough. That is why I apologize.
Because what Musa did was
precisely
over a period.
That's why.
And then the other guy took a snapshot. So in that snapshot, he said, this is what I see. But Musa had done
But there's
a year and a half
There's
work.
history with Musa Dankwa getting some things wrong on primaries.
Yeah,
There's
but I'm saying that, if you want to choose, since you're asking me now, if you want to make a choice in terms of election, I think it's better to use someone who's done it more times, so that it gives you a better...
I think if you want to choose, you choose someone who has never gotten it wrong, and you may not find one.
No, that's not you. It's a methodology. Because if
Yes.
somebody does a research which gives you a snapshot once, because elections are such fluid, the trend is better than the
No,
snapshot.
I didn't look at those details, how many times you've done it, but I know that on occasion, people have gotten it wrong. Musa Dankwa himself has gotten some.
Well, I'm saying that you were
wrong in
doing
the
two
past.
different researches. One is a poll, one is a social... You know what I'm saying? There are two different
Both
things.
of them predicted. And
Yeah, but they use different bases.
fair enough. I'm saying that in the case of Musa Dankwa,
Yeah.
in what happened in election 2024, if you compare to other elections, would we say that all things were equal? That's a question people must answer.
But not all things are never equal anywhere.
Oh,
I'm
no.
just saying that. I'm
All-
just saying
all
that the
things
reason
can get equal.
I believe Musa over
Yeah.
the other guy
Yeah.
was that his methodology was polls over a period.
Okay, so you
as
were right.
against a comprehensive national survey, which gives you just one snapshot.
Okay, so you will choose also Professor Lynchman, who got it blatantly wrong. Because he does what you're saying.
But in a different
He does-
context.
Well,
I understand the
Lynchman
Ghana context better.
What Lynchman has been doing it from Jimmy Carter. He's gotten it correct
Yeah.
in 1980 elections, 84, 88,
Yeah.
92. Just this one, he got it wrong.
But do you also know that? Do you
And
also
I
know,
also felt,
Yes.
and I was interviewed by Reuters, that Lynchman got it wrong. That he was going to get it wrong. Let me tell you why he was going
Yeah.
to get it wrong. Because in one of Lynchman's 8 analysis,
Yeah.
he talks about the incumbent. Is the incumbent running? If
Yeah.
the incumbent is running, that's a point for the ruling party.
Yeah.
If the incumbent is not running, that's a point against the ruling party. In the case of Kamala Harris, he noted it as the incumbent running. And I came on TV and said that it is not the... I think Professor Lynchman should look at it. I think with H.C. Kanku.
I get it.
Then it turned out
Let me
that he
give
was wrong.
the last reason why I
Musa
believe
was right,
Musa
yeah.
was that when you compare some of the data sets he'd picked, NCCE had done a survey and Afrobarometer asking similar questions on different issues. You notice that they aligned better.
I
So,
think I
so
can
if
agree
you
with what you're
pick
saying.
SMART, there was no
Smart
other,
Sapon, is that
Smart
not his
Sapon.
name?
There
Yes,
was no
yes.
there was no other survey where Smart Sapon aligned with anybody. But if you take questions around young people and their intentions to vote, Musa and Afrobarometer and NCCE were similar. So that gives you, so it's not just the length of time, but also comparing across.
I think I can agree with that.
Interesting. Were you shocked at the outcome of the election, though, in terms of the numbers for Mahama and then for Parliament?
The parliament, I was definitely surprised. But what surprised me was the turnout. And I did my work in Ashanti region on voting day.
Yeah.
And by 2 o'clock, it was obvious that the turnout was very, very low.
Yeah.
And it looked like what the MPP feared had happened. Because the MPP had been talking about turnout in their internal polls,
Yeah.
in internal meetings.
Yeah.
They had been concerned about turnout, how people turn out to vote. So they had a whole plan to get out the vote and all of that. But when I looked at the time, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and this is the turnout, I knew that something significant was going to happen.
But you know, every time there's a low turnout, government changes.
Every time there's what?
A low turnout below 70, the government changes.
I don't know
Since,
that. But
since 96.
yes, but I was looking at the stronghold of the MPP, and there
Yeah.
was low turnout there.
Yeah.
So I knew that the MPP is
was in trouble.
losing significant votes, and it was very simple to check. So they look at 2020. By this time, how many people had voted? So my reporters were checking around how many people had voted. So in some places, where in 2020, 400 people had voted at the polling
Yeah,
station,
the numbers
at
were
this
low.
time it was 30. And it was heavy. And I called people about it that, look,
Wow.
looks like this thing is getting very bad. So with that account, by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I was aware that, you know...
Do you understand the approach of the party to MPP now to choose the flag bearer first?
Oh, yes. I think I read Kwabena Japon's thesis, which I believe set the tone for all of this. And he makes a point that a party is in clear disarray, given the heaviest election defeats, and it is important to have leadership. Unfortunately for the MPP, their party chairman, according to their own reports, has not been very well. Otherwise, he should be holding the fort together. Now, when the party chairman is not well and he has a replacement, you will not have everybody addressing the replacement as a new leader of sorts. A new leader must be generated organically, and so they thought that instead of generating a party chairman who was not will not be on the ballot, let's go first for the person on the ballot, so that we know that we have this comprehensive leader. as I have answered before, what the NPP needs to win the new election. So the general thing is correct. I think it's good. I don't know whether it will work, but I think it's good. What the NPP needs to win the next election is unity. What the NDC needs to win the next election is performance.
Interesting.
So as we go along, we look at it. If the NPP is gaining, so the NPP gains.
So the nature of who wins the NPP primaries and the way they win it is critical. Because if it's divisive, it's going to be a problem.
If it's divisive and they're not united, then they are starting on one leg. Then they have to pray and hope that the NDC doesn't get performance.
How do you think Mahama is performing?
Oh, so far, I think it's early, but in terms of his optics, I think it's fine.
What about the numbers, like the economy and stuff?
The economy and stuff numbers, I think
like the exchange rate is stable.
Economists must still tell us.
The inflation rate is lower.
That is correct.
A lot of the debt to GDP is below 50.
All the macro indicators are coming up strong.
Yeah.
But I listened to that interview Felix Kwachio Fosu in 2017. He made a brilliant argument. I think it was on Good Morning Ghana.
Yeah.
When he listed a whole lot of things that the MPP said they had achieved. And he said that, but he's making the point that Nana Akufo-Addo and Ofori-Atta didn't know anything about it. Then he started about what happened in 2016, how Doomsor was blah, blah, blah. So it convinced me that in the first 6 months, 3 months of any government, it is inheriting. It's the inheritance that they are spending. And that's the same with every government. It's the inheritance they are spending. So we need to wait and see after the government has presented its first budget today. Today, for instance, I woke up to the story of Kesela Tufosen's Good News, Coco. Then 4 hours later, MPP are saying that no, he misreported. And I still, as I'm speaking to you now, don't know.
So we should give it time. We should give Mahama time to know his full
economic performance. Okay. I think we need to give him a bit of time. But certainly the optics are correct. And certainly he was popularly elected.
Wow. I wish we can do this often. More often. Thank you, Paul. It's always good
we
to see
didn't talk about NCA. I wanted to make a point.
NCA. Because that's my next point. Okay. Fine, that's the last question.
I can just make one point.
Yes.
I think that there's some part, I was discussing with some entities, there's some part that people are not realizing. And I got quite sad when I saw a Facebook post last night on Facebook, very important person, and other people were discussing it. Now, his concern was that there are 20% of Ghanaians who are below extreme poverty line, and yet our discussion is focused on this. You see, the DSTv issue is looked at, and some, like Franklin Kujo has made a post and says that you don't have to have DSTv. You can decide not to have it. It's presented as an elitist sort of product. I don't think anymore. You know, because DSTv carries local channels. And majority of the lower middle class and upper middle class young people, that's how they watch you.
Even this show,
that's how they watch Good Evening Ghana. That's how they watch Joy, Peace FM. So if the DSTv cable, the bouquet, is now perhaps the go-to bouquet for the local channels, which we consider a right of people to watch television. So DSTv have moved from an elitist brand into a sort of almost necessary.
Their Go TV at the lower end, all the way to.
We made the point that when one person's DSTV's subscription is down, DSTv can take their pictures off, but they should keep the local channels on Metro TV, GB. They only keep GBC. They don't keep the rest of us. So maybe that's another point Sam George could make. There's another last point we should make that Sam George should perhaps add to his conversation. I've been talking about this for a while. It's important that DSTv gives us the choice to decide whether I want to watch this Premier League game this weekend or I don't want to watch it. Right. Every weekend, you are given 10 Premier League games to watch by force. You pay for all the 10 Premier League games. You cannot choose Manchester United. In England, you can choose Manchester United this weekend only. Or you choose all Manchester United for the season so you get a discount. You choose all Arsenal. The day Bournemouth is playing Everton, which tends to be a big game, which you didn't choose at the beginning, you can go into your phone and choose it. So maybe we should graduate to that point. I don't want to watch Big Brother. I don't have to pay for it. But I don't watch Big Brother.
So you think what he's initiated is a good opportunity to discuss?
I think we should open up the discussion. But I don't know whether we have the systems to support what I'm saying. Okay. England has a system to support that. So first of all, DSTv is almost a mass product because it's carrying the signals of local channels. Number two, the more important conversation is not subscription. It is the freedom of choice for the person who is watching the DSTv. I have a cable. I don't want to watch Arsenal. I'm giving Arsenal game. Every month you bring me a bill. For 80% of DSTv, I didn't watch. I want to watch only CNN, but I pay for BBC, I pay for Al Jazeera, I pay for everything, and I'm watching only CNN. Maybe I want to watch only Point of View. I don't want to watch this. Then you're asking me, but in England, that's how it is. That's what cable has always been about. So you want to watch the Mike Tyson fight, you watch it, you pay and watch it. So maybe they should have a look at that.
Thank you, Paul. When we come back, we'll be speaking to Imani and Kat on this matter. They have two different views on the Samuel George versus DSTv issue. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In a fast-growing urban environment like Accra, safety is as important as the air that we breathe. Hear the real stories from those who now feel safe like never before with Response One.
One night, I heard the glass shattering. Armed robbers had broken in. Before I could react, the alarm blared and the lights flashed, and Response One was already on their way. Within minutes, the security was at my door and the armed robbers had fled. I never want to be that scared again. And now I know with Response One, I never will.
Don't wait for tragedy to strike. Protect your home with Response One's monitored alarm system and our theft protection guarantee. Immediate response, real protection. Response One. Stay connected, stay protected.
Welcome back. So we go into part two where we're debating the Minister for Communication and, of course, the DSTv matter. This pricing saga, free market intervention, what do we have? I have Apia Kusi Adom-Otchere, who is from CATS, and I also have Profia Jiman. When we come back, I'll give a quick background to this controversy, and then I talk to the two men. So tonight we're delving first into the controversy involving Minister Samuel George and MultiChoice. So what are the quick facts? In March 2005, MultiChoice operators of DSTv raised their subscription prices, triggering a public backlash. Soon after this, the Ghanaian city began to appreciate against the US dollar, right? Now, despite the increase in exchange rate or the improvement in the exchange rate between the city and the dollar, the company did not adjust their price downwards. Now, indeed, in April that year, there was a slight adjustment upwards. Now, on July 4, exactly a month ago today, the Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Sam George, met with MultiChoice and demanded a 30% price reduction to reflect the city's appreciation. Now, the company put out a statement today. Indeed, when they met, the minister was optimistic that it would lead to a price reduction. That didn't really happen, right? So it's been a month. The company today issues a statement, and I'll just read it in part. MultiChoice notes with concern the recent statements made by the Honorable Minister for Communication, Samuel George, regarding DSTv pricing in Ghana. It's just 5 paragraphs. Let me read it quickly. It is regrettable that the Honorable Minister has taken this stance, notwithstanding our ongoing endeavors to engage the Honorable Minister candidly and in good faith on this important matter. In an effort to arrive at a resolution, we have made a proposal to the Minister and the NCA on an alternative further engagement avenue. Having operated in Ghana for 30 years plus, we value our employees, contract staff, dealers, installers, agents, and retailers in Ghana. We are mindful of the dire implications that an impasse may have on you and your livelihoods, and we assure you that we are committed to working together with the Minister and NCA to resolve the matter. MultiChoice values its subscription and endeavors at all times to keep DSTv subscription fees as low as possible, despite the extremely challenging competition compared to a macroeconomic environment in which we operate without compromising on customer choice and quality of the services we offer. While we appreciate the recent appreciation of the city, which we have never referred to as a fluke, it is not tenable to reduce the DSTv subscription fees in the manner proposed by the Minister. MultiChoice remains committed to constructive engagement with the Honourable Minister and to comply with all applicable laws and regulations in Ghana, and trust that the authority will do likewise. Ends signed by Adom-Otchere, Managing Director. The Minister responded in a tweet and says this is not on. He believes that the statement made by the DSTv team is not logical, doesn't deal with the issues. I'm going to show you two pieces of evidence which seems to be informing the Minister's position. The first is a chart of pricing of a bouquet called the premium bouquet. So they basically have about different bouquets. They have the premium being the highest, then there's compact plus, there's compact, and then the other things. So stay with the first one. Stay with the first one, guys. Premium extra. So now you have Finex Skills Hub have put this together today, August 4th, right? What they've done is that they've given about 7 countries and the dollar price for the premium bouquet. The chart shows the tax component and the non-tax component. the tax component tells its own story. For Ghana, the tax is $18.5 of the $82. $18.5 is taxes. The second highest country for tax there is Botswana, 7.5, followed by Eswatini, 6.8, 6.7 South Africa, Liberia, 5.5, Angola 4, Nigeria 2. But here's the story. When you even add the tax, when you take out the tax component, the Ghana premium bouquet is still the highest in terms of dollars, right? That's around $64 compared to Liberia, Botswana, Eswatini, South Africa, Angola, and Nigeria. Nigeria's 27 without taxes is like 1/3 of Ghana. So this is the major issue. Angola is around the same. So the question people ask is, why are the Ghana prices so high? Is there a cost build-up in Ghana that makes it more expensive to run DSTv than it is in all these countries? That's the first point. Now, the second point is the next slide. When you go into the various bouquets, most Ghanaians compare themselves to Nigeria. So from Premium Extra View, which is $485 in Nigeria, compared to over 1,000 in Ghana. Premium for Ghana is around 800. Compact Plus Extra View, $343 in Nigeria. Compact Plus, $285. Compact Extra View, $240. Compact, $180. If you compare this to Ghana, it's 1/3 of the Ghana cost. A lot of people feel this is not on. It's too much of a rip-off. So the ministers call for DSTv to reduce their price by 30%. It's very popular on social media. Who are my guests tonight? I have Adom-Otchere, who is the West Africa team lead. So Adom-Otchere is the West Africa Regional Director for CATS International. Apia, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Bernard.
We also have Senior Research Associate for Imani Africa, Promfia German. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bernard. It's good to be here.
I need to mention that I've invited these two because they've written, to my mind, the most cogent analysis as institutions of the matter. The number of articles Apia has written. His July 15 article is titled DSTv, Market Power and the Urgent Case for Antitrust Law Reset. This article was published in BNFT on 15 July, almost a week and a half after the minister met the DSTv team. But he's been writing on this for many, many months. Now, the Imani team has also written an article which is pretty neat, and it's published in the High Street Journal. Imani warns political interference threatens Ghana's economic gains and urges market reforms. Those are two very good reads I urge you to have. So let me start with Apia. You've been on this for long. So are you surprised we've gotten here with the way the minister has gone and everything else? Since you've been saying that DSTv behaves anti-competitively. This is not new to you, is it?
Yes, Bernard. It's not new to me and also not new to Ghanaians. When you find yourself in a market which has some artificial form of barriers to entry, whoever is there can decide to exploit the market because it has the market power. Market power is when a firm is able to reasonably increase its prices without fearing consumers backing out from their services. And you know, in Ghana, for example, MultiChoice is one of the leading players in the pay TV. And it is so because MultiChoice has premium content which other TV companies do not have. If you want to watch the sports, the UEFA or the Champions League or the EPL, your go-to station is what? MultiChoice. And for that reason, any other company that comes to the pay TV network market without this content will not be able to survive. The other key issue is that because of the licensing agreement, which the European companies do exclusive licensing with MultiChoice, it kind of excludes all rivals from having access to this premium content. By so doing, it makes the market not attractive to, entrant. And so we are having MultiChoice growing and growing, whereas others are even exiting the market. I remember some years ago, we had this firm called GPN, I forgot the name. They came and then they saw and then they ran away, anti-clamors. And others have also come and they have also left because they are not getting the
gateway broadcasting systems.
Yes, gateway broadcasting system. And also other ones. And so all of these things are happening because of the upstream suppliers of the content. And if we are able to address that by ensuring that there is a pro-competitive arrangement. When you go to the US, for example, there are about 15 to 20 pay TV networks, and none of them has an exclusive licensing arrangement for the sports content. And so if there's the NFL, NBA, whatever, every station can acquire the license so that nobody can take consumers for granted.
So you're saying the problem begins with the subscription and the fact that MultiChoice has a monopoly on certain kinds of content. Yes. That's the fundamental problem.
Fundamental problem.
Before the issue of pricing.
Yes.
All right. So let's take one by. Do you believe that the fact that MultiChoice owns exclusive rights to certain content and sells it on a subscription basis is a problem at all before we come to pricing?
I mean, thank you, Bernard. Whether or not is a problem, it's really not the case. You need to ask the first question: does the government of Ghana have any leverage over the deals that MultiChoice makes with these international partners?
Okay.
And if they do, how do they really influence, any pricing of that sort? Here's MultiChoice, who are being beneficiaries of an arrangement which they really do not have any control over, and which I'm sure if there were competitors who were competing with MultiChoice, then the issue or the dynamics would be different. There are high entry barriers to this industry. But is it really the fault of MultiChoice? You need to create that environment where other people can enter the market. And that is not what we currently see. We do not have that at the moment. So if MultiChoice is benefiting from its own private arrangement with an international company, you need to ask yourself as a government, how are you really going to influence that particular arrangement without really coming out with outright threats to what MultiChoice is benefiting from?
So for you, the issue is not who owns what monopoly. It's not an issue. All right, so you disagree on this. You think fundamentally there should be more openness in who controls what? Because if the company has a monopoly to a certain kind of content, that's where the problem begins. You don't think so? You feel like it's a market, they have been able to break those entry barriers and they're in. Yeah. All right, but let's go to your next point. Do you then believe that following off from the monopoly they have, they engage in unfair competitive practices, of which pricing could be one?
Yes. When you are a player in the market and you don't have a competitor, you can decide to charge monopoly prices. And that is what we are facing. You remember this year around March, for example, MultiChoice decided to increase its prices. They give consumers 6 days, which violate the fair notice principle. If there were to be a good competitor in the market, MultiChoice would have complied with the first notice principle in terms of announcing prices. Now, the cedi has appreciated significantly against the dollar. And if you were to do that, MultiChoice is supposed to also adjust its prices downwards organically without even any ministerial intervention. But the minister has come in. Of course, it's a free market. As an economist, I believe in a free market. But however, when the free market is not able to lead to an optimal outcome, that is why we have what's called market failures. In the US, 2008, the market collapsed. It was a free market. Government came in, even have to bail out the private sector. And so if the free market is not working, then we need to look at how we can make the free market to work. And government intervention by asking the MultiChoice to reduce prices is not out of place, because the market is such that the market is no longer, nobody can enter the market within a short term to be able to compete. That can result in prices going down. And so there's that kind of barriers to entry, means that government may have to urge the operator to reduce its prices. And asking operator to reduce prices is not something strange. We've had it in many jurisdictions. President Trump is even telling the U.S. pharmaceutical companies, America is the capital of the free market economy in this way. But yet, President Trump is saying that the pharmaceutical companies should reduce the price they charge for prescription. And that is founded in evidence. And so I agree to the minister because there's no way by which anybody can compete with multi-choice. Now, multi-choice is earning what is called monopoly rent, monopoly profit. And if there were to be a competitor in the market, I'm sure that multi-choice will not be able to sustain its subscription prices at the level at which they are charging.
So let me summarize your 2 points on this point. Free market is great, but only if it leads to an optimal outcome.
Yes.
If the outcome is suboptimal, there's a place for market intervention.
Yes.
Number two, there are examples of market intervention globally which shows that the minister's approach, or generally a government, not even go the minister, a government trying to influence pricing is not out of place. Simpliciter.
Yes.
Without elaboration. So let's deal with that as well. I want to take it one by one so we can get the views. So let's take it one. He says free market is good on paper, but if it doesn't lead to optimal outcomes, it needs intervention of some kind. That's number one. And number two, he does not see what the minister is trying to do generally as out of place.
Okay, so maybe let me start off. I would defer to him in terms of the free market principles.
Mm-hmm.
As one of the principles, you need a certain limited intervention from the government.
Okay.
Now, limited intervention would mean, obviously, that the government has to create that sort of conducive environment for players in whichever industry to operate. Now, as one of those factors of that particular incentive, the government has to create a lot of incentive, tax breaks, for all the new entrants into that particular space. We don't really see that happening in this context. Now, when the directive came from the minister, I think we at Imani wanted to know where he's really drawing his power from. And when you look at the Electronics Communication Act, I think 775, 13B, I think, it says that as one of the elements or one of the things that can trigger revocation of the broadcasting license is the fact that you, as the supplier of any sort of service, you did not follow lawful directive from the NCA, right? So I was wondering, I wanted to really delve deep and look into which other powers are in these sections that the minister sort of is drawing his directive from. And we didn't really find anything. So the question is this lawful? Now, it's a very gray area. That is why we need to really visit the whole idea of a competition a law, which we don't have. And for 2 decades, that has stalled. If there were a competition law with a competition sort of agency board really, really delving into some of these the nitty-gritty of some of these issues, then you wouldn't have the propensity of one single individual or a ministry saying that, well, we feel, because what is the research behind this? It is just out of public demand of the services of DSTv, and they feeling that by virtue of the fact that the dollar has really appreciated, the city has appreciated against the dollar, then there should be some sort of benefit to it, but not really hardcore any evidence to support that.
So I'm trying to put this well. In the first argument around the structure of the market, you disagree. He says the problem starts from the way the market is structured. You don't think so?
Because DSTv has no influence about how the market is structured. They are just a player.
Good. Then on the point of free market, if it doesn't deliver optimal outcomes, it requires intervention. You kind of sort of agree. But you're saying that the lack of the optimal outcome could be the action or the inaction of the government. So it's not necessarily the player.
It is not the result of any particular ministry to decide whether this is optimal or not. When there are no clear rules, for example, the competition law, which really clearly states this is what is happening, that's what is happening. But mind you, there hasn't been any found case. In Nigeria, I think the minister referred to the Nigerian case, that the ministry in Nigeria was able to influence such a price change. They went to court and sued. But this is a directive coming from the minister. What is the lawful backing behind it? And that's why we are not into antitrust, we are not into price fixing and all that. All we are saying that we need to really follow due process in doing that. If we don't do that, and in our study of the cylinder recirculation model and also the cement pricing legislation 2491, you would see that clearly it emanated from somebody feeling that, well, I think cement prices are high, with no due consideration as to the kind of factors that goes into the price builder.
Okay, I like this point, and I'll come back to you on what's an optimal outcome. But does it matter that in 2023, when MultiChoice itself wrote a statement on the customer price increase 15 February, they listed specific factors driving the prices, all right? So without going through the whole statement. So they said their content and costs are sourced internationally and paid in foreign currency. Then they mention examples. Premier League, FIFA, etc. Then it says in April, when we last adjusted prices, this is 2023, it gave the cedi exchange rate of 7.4 versus the current rate of 12.9. They referred to 64% depreciation. That was number one. Then they said fuel prices increased. Then they also give the amount, 58.8. Electricity tariff increased by 65%. DSTv service ran from 4 cell sites that significantly use electricity and fuel to power the various equipment needed to broadcast the content. Then they use year-on-year inflation, 54, compared to 23. The various adjustments have announced an average of 19%. So basically, they are saying currency depreciated by 64%, fuel price increased by 58%, electricity tariff by 65%, and the inflation also increased 54%. And then they talk about the taxes. All right. Now, if you say this in your increase, and I say to you, between the last increase of maybe early 2025 and now, everything you reference in your 2023 has come down. Inflation was 26, it's now 13. Currency has appreciated close to 50% to the dollar. Fuel price, a liter of petrol in 2023 was around 13.45. It's now below 13 for both fuel and both diesel. Diesel has also come down. All right. So can we not say that they themselves have told us what informed their increase? So if those factors have changed, why shouldn't they also play ball? I mean, this is fair, right?
So logically, you would agree with me, Bernard, that the next logical step would have been for the minister to invite DSTv. If there's been any sort of meeting of that nature, I'm not really aware.
No, it's clear. 4th July, they met.
They met,
They both,
right?
he issued a statement that they had met
Okay.
and they were expecting something to change.
Okay. So this meeting should not be a one-off thing. It should be an engagement.
Okay.
Our issue is the propensity for any sort of government official or any ministry to, outside of the confines of the law, issue such directives. Because when you start doing that, then people will start asking. I think Adom-Otchere is the one that is the one of the goods that is really, people don't have access to it. And price of that is building up. Do you then say that you're going to really contact all Adom-Otchere traders to say that, well, I think the prices are coming? Where does it end? So that's the issue. You do not have the right to do that or issue directives outside the law. And that's what we found, that in this free market space, there are gray sort of, there's a gray area when it comes to the law. Things that are not really clearly spelled out in, let's say, Act 775.
Yeah.
Where the minister can leverage on, let's say, Section 13B and say that, well, because I've issued a lawful order, then if you don't really comply within 7 days, then of course I have the right to close you down. So that is what we are trying to avoid. Let us try to be fair to ourselves and fair to the market players as well. Let's do things by the law. Has there been any breach of any law by DSTv? Has there been any research? What's the data that is backing it? The feeling of people feeling that, well, this is really to our benefit because now I don't have to really pay more for DSTv.
So you are confining your argument now to law. Because I think this is both economics and law. Indeed, when you go to WTO, there's an equal focus on law and economics.
Well, regulations have a lot to play with.
But the question on the table, for example, was an optimal outcome. Right. Optimal outcome is not a legal issue, it's an economic issue.
Exactly, but who decides what an optimal outcome is?
That's what I'm saying. So if it's not, you can't find it in a law, but it's an economic determination that then derives into a law.
Exactly.
So should we not start from the economics?
We can start from, my point is, you can't even start from the economics when you don't engage. In fact, you'll be putting the cart before the horse if you issue a directive with no deep engagement on the
but we can agree on facts without engagement. You don't need engagement to have facts. If you have I just put our facts on the specific statement they issued and the position of those numbers in 2010 position now. These are facts.
Yeah.
So you can then say, let's agree on the facts and then engage.
Okay.
But you haven't considered that those facts point to something.
Well, those facts could point to something, right? Yeah. But what is the minister still saying? Because I think
let's not deal with the minister yet. I want you to deal with the concern of the public.
Yes.
The minister's point will come to. What I'm saying is that do the public have a legitimate concern that in 2023 and prior years, you raise prices on the basis of these factors? These factors have changed, and we demand a change, and you are not seeing it. These aren't these legitimate?
No, they do. They do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think probably the impression, you're getting the wrong impression. By virtue of accountability, the public has a right to know any price build-up that is going on. And that is why the cement, for example, in the cement pricing case, the cement producers were okay when there was the LI 2480, which demanded some level of quality from the cement producers, because it affects them, it affects their baseline, and affects consumers as well. So they were quite okay with that. What they were not okay with is government actually telling them this price is good and this price is not good. Of course, you wouldn't want a monopolistic situation where one company, one industry begins to dictate without the considerations of what you mean, the market elements, the economic elements, the prevailing conditions at that time. So we are not saying that we do not agree with the concerns of the public.
You are dealing with the approach.
What we are saying is approach.
Correct. So let me come back to you. He has a legitimate question about what's an optimal outcome. The fact that it's 82 in Ghana and whatever in Nigeria, what is optimal in Nigeria may not be what's optimal in Ghana, because the factors in Ghana and Nigeria may not be the same. So as an economist who's now a lawyer, why are you saying that the price being charged in Ghana is not optimal?
Well, so it is not optimal because it's a price that cannot be sustained if there were to be competition in the market.
Okay.
So, for example, if tomorrow, for example, Star Times were to come into the market with the same content, I'm not sure, and Star Time charges, let's say, 200 cedis for premium bouquet, I'm not sure MultiChoice will be able to keep it to the current level where it is. It is not optimal because this prices has a monopoly rent. The prices that are determined because you want to make profit to that much. It's also not optimal because you look at the cost, your cost drivers. When your input cost drivers have changed, this is not like going to see an oracle to tell you that the price have changed. We can all see in the letter that they talk about 2 years ago letter that these are their cost drivers. Inflation is coming down. CD has appreciated. And of course, MultiChoice they don't produce content in Ghana here. So the cost of production here is even almost infinitesimal compared to other regions where they produce content here. So all they do is for subscription services, and then they take everything back to South Africa in USD. And when you look at how much, if they were to be fair to Ghanaians and tell us how much, maybe BOG can help us, but that is, data protection, to tell us how much has been going every month in terms of dollar terms. And that is how. Now, on the same thing, even you are talking about the approach, under the Act 775, there is a provision called SMP, where the minister can also declare an operator as
like they did for MTN.
They did for MTN. But there's a bit controversy as to whether pay TV is a basic necessity. So you may not necessarily do that. But I think that it is in the interest of MultiChoice to also operate efficiently in the market. If you are now earning so much monopoly profit, and someone comes to the market with a better quality service, you may not be able to survive because over the years your prices were up. Now that you are facing competition, you may even have to exit the market. So their business strategy needs to change if they want to survive in the market. And of course, nowadays too, there is also streaming services. Now people are shifting and buying unlimited data of others. So those who are watching football matches may decide to go toward streaming services. And that alone could also affect their...
So you're saying it's in their own interest to look at their pricing? You think so?
Yes.
So that's all we have time for tonight's edition. We started off speaking to Paul Adom-Otchere, host of Good Evening Ghana, former board chair of the Ghana Airport Company, with his episodes with the OSP. And we ended up with a debate involving Apia Kusi Adomako and Ampofia Jemine. Hope you've learned something new. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.